Gentlemen No Class is proud to be a part of the HC Universal Network. Gentlemen No Class is produced, mixed, and edited by M5 Studios.
This podcast contains explicit language and is intended for adult audiences. The views and opinions of Gentlemen No Class are strictly for comedic purposes and should not be taken literally. For instance, like this disclaimer. Now grab yourself a pint and enjoy.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Gentlemen No Class, a podcast. And when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. I'm Jake.
And I'm Rob.
Ryan.
And like it or not, gentle ladies and gentlemen, we are the hosts for this evening's episode.
What's going on, everybody? We're back live streaming.
You sound weird.
I'm not feeling that great.
Aw. Maybe you should have gotten vaccinated. No, I'm just kidding.
I did get vaccinated. That's the funny thing is, right, that's like now everything is fucking COVID. Like no matter
Don't you dare cough in public.
You know
no
what
matter
it is.
what
Don't you
sickness,
dare.
I
Yeah,
know, right?
yeah,
No matter what sickness you have fucking COVID.
Nah, you're just exhausted because you built this badass studio with your two bare hands.
Yeah, I did. And Ryan, we got our friend Ryan with us. He's hanging out with us in the new podcast studio. We're still working on a little bit of lighting stuff, but I think it came together fairly quickly and fairly easily.
Absolutely.
Although I do have my switcher is not set up to switch to his camera.
Okay.
So you'll have to just just every once in a while queue up that number 2.
Okay.
And I can switch it from here, but you know,
Okay.
we'll that way we make sure whenever Ryan starts talking, if you'll just hit the number 2, and I'll take care of the rest.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
So you're able to switch it back, though.
Yeah, I can switch it
Okay,
back.
so whenever he starts talking,
So, like, if I start talking, you'll just hit the button.
What's already on
and it'll
two?
go.
yeah, it's already on 2 right now. So,
Hi.
well, don't look at the at the.
I
at
can't
the
help
monitor.
it. It's
There's a
right
monitor,
there. I
beautiful
know.
faces right
So
there.
I know.
This
Yeah.
is you can wave at the big camera. This is so everybody
Yeah,
can
yeah,
see the studio, see what's going on and everything. So this is kind of this is my everybody can kind of get a look around. This is my Pez collection. My wife finally let me unpack it after 15 years of being in storage. I will say that some of the Pez, as we unpacked them, were permanently damaged and had to be thrown away. Or I should say I had to take them out of the packaging. And I was not super stoked about that, but it is what it is. I really couldn't do anything about it. And my buddy Brian built me these shelves that run around the top of the wall. I don't know if you can see them in this shot. So there's some shelves that run around up here. So we lost some of our lighting, man. Like no wonder it's all weird and
It's less sexy. Oh,
There we go.
There it is. Oh, wow. There you go. Cool.
way more sexy
Yeah.
like this.
Which one's live? Run that by me.
The one on the right hand side.
It's live. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Program. All right.
That's us right there live.
Did we want
Beautiful.
this light on? We
We do
Okay,
right now
all right.
because it was a little intense with these
Little harsh.
and we've got some soft boxes, but we got to get them set up still and find room for
We
them and
meaning you.
stuff. Yeah, we meaning me.
Yeah, I know. It's a good marker though. I stand right behind the mini boss. You stand right behind the buckle.
That,
bunny.
I did that on purpose,
And then that's our.
You can thank my wife for that because
is that her idea?
she was like, hey, like you should. Which side do you stand on? Which side does Jake stand on? And those are the ones we put up. Now you see what I got behind Ryan.
And I'm jealous of that because
Yeah.
that's a space train.
Yeah, and I got the Wicked Awesome over there. And then I sent some pictures to Evan, and he was like, man, I said, I need a Eureka Heights one to put, above the Gentleman No Class banner so that we can, he's like, yeah, I'll get you one. No problem. For
sure.
So we'll get that up. And that'll be cool. So on tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and where it goes after Loki. So I'm assuming that everybody has seen Loki. Everybody's caught up with where it's at. I'm assuming that, but I know for a fact that Jake probably didn't watch all of it.
Okay, yeah. I'm not blaming it on life. It's just my lack of interest when I get home from a 10, 11-hour shift. But my wife pounded through that. She's like, Jake, we'll watch it again. And I would come in and I would watch it with her, and I would catch majority of it. But I did watch the last 2 episodes. I saw the first episode, most of the second, and then the last 2 episodes where the meat on the bone is really
Yeah, let's be
anyways,
honest.
right?
Episode 6 is the one you need to know, especially if we're focusing on Phase 4 and where it goes from here. 6 is what you need to see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, it definitely sets up, it sets up a lot of different things, right? So we're, let's spoiler alert. If you haven't been watching Loki, and God, why wouldn't you? I mean, the TV shows just keep getting better every single time. They get better and better and better. So if you're not watching Loki, I encourage you to go watch Loki. But in the interim, we'll talk about, the Marvel Cinematic Universe and where it stands right now. So, and we finally, are getting some things opening back up. So we went to our first movie theater our first MCU movie back in the theaters. I say we because Jake was invited but didn't show up.
Ryan wanted to come.
Why you
but-
gotta bring up bullshit?
Well, I mean, it's relevant. So,
Okay, sure.
so anyway,
Sure.
we
Were you there, Ryan?
No.
No.
I suggested they postpone it. They would have none of it.
It was I had already
We
bought
gotta
the
go on
tickets.
opening night. No, you hadn't.
No, I
You're
hadn't.
such a- Oh, God.
I had two, by the way.
The
You didn't go to
betrayal.
Ryan.
Well, okay, whatever. He had ticket and he didn't even show
I
up.
paid him though. I paid
You did pay
so
for
you
it.
could have sold it to somebody.
I
or-
tried. Nobody
Okay,
wanted to go
okay,
last
yeah.
minute like that.
I went
anyway,
to two and didn't go to Ryan.
Do what?
I hit two and didn't go to Ryan.
People
so.
need
Oh,
to
well,
see me.
that's-
Make it
That's
happen.
you. Okay.
Okay, that was
We're
that
doing
was
it
my
live.
fault.
We're
We're
doing
doing it live.
We're doing it live.
So, we went and saw Black Widow, obviously in the theaters. I say we. It was
just
me
you,
and Brian and Doug Funny.
Douglas.
So,
Yancey.
we went and saw Black Widow in the theaters, and that was a really interesting movie. It takes place right after the events of Captain America: Civil War. And it's Natasha on the run, and at the end of it is when she gets the Quinjet and goes and picks up Steve, and they break everybody out of prison at the very end of Civil War. So it takes place right in that little gap of Civil War. And at the end of it, there's a post-credit scene where obviously Yelena is becoming the new Black Widow, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, Contessa Valentina de Fontaine, is talking to her about work. So obviously they're working together. And then, you mix in the three big shows, which I really like the character development of being in the show, like having a show. It lets you get a lot more action in, you know what I mean? Like the WandaVision, being 6 episodes, that's 6 hours. That's basically like 3 movies.
More action or more information?
More both. I think you get a lot. Like when I say action, I don't mean like fight scene action.
Okay.
I just mean like more action, more things happening.
Gotcha, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like WandaVision sets up a bunch of questions, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier kind of sets up a little bit with Val. That's where they're introduced. But then Loki kind of blows the top off the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because Loki takes place after the events of the Battle of New York in Endgame, where the Avengers have changed the timeline. Loki picks up the Tesseract and disappears into space, creates a branch timeline, and that's where we learn about the TVA. And the TVA is the entity that is in charge of
Maintaining the sacred timeline.
Yeah.
and what
as
do they explain as the sacred timeline?
Pretty much the sequence of events that needs to happen to prevent chaos, right?
Right.
If timelines start diverging, that's when chaos would ensue. So anything that happens that could cause that, they jump in and stop it from happening, i.e. arresting Loki at the very beginning of episode 1.
Right. And so when they arrest Loki, though, like they're you see them prune him, and we assume that kills them, basically like erasing them, and they're pruning timelines like they talk about pruning like a branch of a tree, and you assume that it's gone, and the whole show is this illusion. And illusion with where it's alluding to something, and there's all these Easter eggs, and I love the Easter eggs that they dropped into this show. You know what I mean? All along, like the timekeepers, they kind of look like Kang, and you're like, oh, which one they're gonna do? Like, which one of these is gonna be Kang? And There's all kinds of little Easter eggs as you go through. So you meet Sylvie, who's a female variant of Loki from another timeline that is on the run, killing the Minutemen and taking their pruning charges for whatever nefarious deed she has planned.
The variants, it's not them exactly, right? It's just like because what I'm trying to say, like, there was a little kind of love story going on,
right?
Is that kind of like, I mean, loving with yourself, kind of, sort of?
Yeah, and we'll get to that.
Okay,
which is the most Loki thing ever.
Okay.
To fall in love with yourself, which is what happened. But the variant is anyone in a timeline, right? There's apparently there's several timelines going on concurrently, and as long as they just go along in a straight line, sacred timeline, it's all good. But as soon as anyone in any of those timelines fucks things up, they get sucked up by the TVA, right? So that's what happened to Loki. That's what happened to Sylvie. That's what happened to all these other Lokis we come to find out, right? That's what makes you a variant. So Tom Hiddleston, he becomes a variant at the beginning of the show. And instead of just pruning him, like Rob said, Owen Wilson's character, Mobius.
Yeah, Mobius.
I love that. He says, no, we can use this guy. Let's not prune him, right? Let's pump the brakes. And because they have this issue, like Rob said, there is this other Loki, this other variant.
Well, they don't tell him it's a Loki at first.
No, they said we need to help. We need to help you. We need you to help us find you. That's what Owen Wilson tells me.
Yeah, he said the variant we're chasing is you.
Right. In which, so that's a big part of the whole thing, which I loved. Is it was almost like a mystery. You're always kind of on your heels. You don't exactly know what's going on at any given point, right? Because they say stuff like that. You're like, what do you mean you need help finding yourself? What does that even mean? And come to find out, it's a female Loki, right? Goes by the name of Sylvie, right? But then you're also trying to figure out, what is this TVA? What's the Timekeepers? What is that? There's a scene which blew my mind. At the beginning, Loki thinks he's a badass because he's got the Tesseract, right? It's like I got an Infinity Stone, man. You can't mess with me. And Owen Wilson, I think it was Owen Wilson who takes and is like, this is nothing, and he opens up a drawer, full of Infinity Stones.
No, it wasn't Owen Wilson. It was one of the male
guy.
Was it? Okay,
he goes, some of the guys use these. He's like, some of the guys use these as paperweights, and he's like, Infinity Stones are worthless here, and he's like.
He was pissed off. Yeah,
it blows your mind
for sure.
Because we just watched 20-something movies that's centered around collecting these things because they were a big fucking deal, And in one scene they're like, no, here they're really not a big deal. So then you're even more like, what is going on?
Yeah,
what is this place?
And that's when Loki kind of gives up. You know what I mean? When he kind of figures out that like whatever's happening is happening, and he just is not what he thought was happening is not, you know what I mean? So like he was talking about, I'm going to escape and, all these other things, but that wasn't going to really happen. When he kind of gets that defeatist, okay, like now let me play into this. I guess that's the only thing I can do to stay alive is to just play this game or play, whatever they've got going on. He starts hunting himself. And it's an interesting concept of, like, how do you figure out, like the interesting little quirks and details of what they worked into that show. I think that the thing about Loki being DB Cooper, that was so good.
Yeah.
And the way he explains, I was young and lost a bet with Thor. And it really like opens up this whole. One of the things that you just said earlier was something that I didn't realize until you said it out loud, because I was trying to wrap my head around what is the sacred timeline. Is the sacred timeline one universe, one timeline moving forward? But it can't be, because you can't prune an entire universe. So it has to be that the TVA is pruning, that all of these realities, these infinite number of universes stacked on top of each other, all coexist, but they're making them so that they all are having the same sequence of events going forward.
Right. And we don't truly understand why until the very end, until episode 6. And then we get the big reveal.
Yeah.
Right?
And so like going, like, you learn a couple of things. So like when you learn that when they get pruned, they end up in the void, and the void is this void at the end of time, and it exists separate from time and space. And there's other Loki variants there that they're surviving because they're survivors. And you meet all these like really great characters and
so much good stuff.
Lots
So
of
many
good
ones.
Easter eggs in there. You get to see the Avengers Tower that was bought by Kwang Enterprises,
Right.
which was a huge Kang Easter egg. Mr. Griffin was the Kang alter ego, or the variant of Kang that was the owner of that industry that created the Dark Avengers. And so like that was a big Easter egg. You're like, ooh, that's a Kang. And then the Eliath thing, that was a huge Kang Easter egg because that was like real big in the Kang comics. But there was a couple other things when they showed the alligator Loki, like that was so good.
So good.
But did you catch the Easter egg of when they when they go into the hatch and the camera pans down,
That Simpson style pan.
yeah,
and you see the stuff in the
Mjolnir-
rocks.
Yeah, Mjolnir's there, and
Then
Frog,
Throg.
yeah, Frog Thor
yeah.
is trying to get at Mjolnir, and Chris Hemsworth voiced the Frog.
I heard that.
Okay,
That's
okay.
awesome.
Yeah,
I missed
he
that
did
one.
the trying to get out of the jar.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. So yeah, that's from the comic books, but apparently that's even from like mythology. There was a story where Loki literally turned Thor into a frog.
Yeah.
back in the mythology. So it's just fun. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so that was we were talking about the kid Loki. They were like, what did he do to get? He killed Thor. That was his thing. And you're
Right.
like, oh shit. And you're like, I read this thing online, like, how did he kill Thor? And it goes back to Thor Ragnarok when he talks about he turned him into a snake. And he's like, I love snakes. And then he turned back on himself and he stabbed me. That's when he killed him.
Interesting.
So
Okay. Right.
that's the event that killed Thor.
I mean, that's the fan theory, right?
Yeah,
no
of
one
course,
is right. I mean, because fan theories are running rampant right now with
Oh,
this
yeah.
show and like what all of it means. And
yeah, there's a ton of stuff that's going on right now. I mean, we know that like, there's just so much stuff. I mean, you have the list of characters. So what was the judge's name?
Renslayer.
Yeah, Ravina.
Yeah, Ravina Renslayer. Yeah.
So she's
Ravana.
Ravana Renslayer. So she's a love interest of Kang in the comics, and his city that exists outside of time and space, which is where the quantum realm is called Chronopolis. And the speculation is that in that scene in Ant-Man and the Wasp, when they're in the quantum realm, you see that city in the background, or what looks like a city, that's where the TVA is. That's Chronopolis.
Interesting.
So that's the prevailing theory that I've heard. But moving forward, I mean, this really opens up a lot of doors to where the MCU can go, because at the end of Loki, we knew that, I say we as fans in general that read the trades or whatever, we knew that Jonathan Majors had been cast as Kang the Conqueror for Ant-Man Quantumania, which is the third Ant-Man
Which
film.
doesn't come out for 2 years. I think,
2
right?
years
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
So we were like, ooh, Kang's got to be... There's no way that Kang can be just an Ultron-esque villain where it's a one movie and done thing. He's got to be the next Thanos of the next
The big bad,
Yeah, the
sure.
big bad. Which, do you know where that phrase came from?
I do not. Please enlighten me.
So the big bad was coined by Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Holy shit. The smile on your face right
know.
now. I just... It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
yeah.
That was a Joss Whedon thing.
Now-
They referred to them as the bad guys, or the big bad.
Gotcha. Cool.
So I know like you're hardcore into Marvel. Just if you can just enlighten me with Kang, is he all bad? All villain?
So all the variants of him that are, because like we're talking about an infinite number
Right.
of versions of him. All the variants that the Avengers fight, they're all bad. So the backstory on Kang is that he is he's a 31st century scientist who is a descendant of Reed Richards, and Reed Richards is Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four. he is the one who discovers that there is a multiverse. And at the same time, not just because not every variant of himself is, benevolent, a lot of them are bent on, evil, and so being able to travel between the multiverses means you can travel through time. Basically, you can, one multiverse has got to have time travel. So you go assimilate that technology. You find, this multiverse has this technology, and you just become ultra powerful. You know what I mean? Right. So when we talk about Kang the Conqueror, it all depends on which variant of Kang you're talking about, because some of them are kind of shitty and some of them are, ultra powerful. There's a council of time lost Kangs and Chronopolis that like dictate how the Kangs are going to, try to, rule the universe or whatever. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's a lot of things that you're talking about, but he's never a good guy. But, well, I take that back. There is a version of Kang that is a young version of Kang.
Is that Iron Lad?
Iron Lad, yeah. Which I think they may do with Harley Keener. They may do a variant of that, but I mean, he's a white kid, so I mean, I don't know how they would pull that off. But maybe it'll be a descendant or maybe the Ironheart thing, because the girl that they cast for Ironheart is a black chick.
Yeah.
And so that may be one of Kang's variants, a female version of Kang. That
is it possible that the Jonathan Majors is like a variant?
Yeah, he is a variant.
He is a variant.
Yeah, they're all variants.
Now, okay, so
they're going to have he's going to play multiple versions of Kang.
Now, I was reading an article saying that this type of Kang resembles a lot like Immortus.
Immortus, yeah.
And he's like an old, exhausted guy that just like...
Yeah.
And it's not all bad, apparently. So I don't know.
Well, it's... What do you prefer? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things like... He's doing what he's doing because he feels that it's right, but you've removed free will, and you've killed countless, an infinite number of people, because basically Immortus did what He Who Remains did, was make sure that all timelines lead to him, like all the outcomes of every universe lead to him. That was his goal, so that it wasn't because like he was hell-bent on making sure that everybody was okay. It was more like he wanted to rule everything. He wanted to win. So that's why he did that.
So to take one step back, because we got to the void at the end of the time, we were talking about, pretty much the general flow of the story, right? And then we started talking about Kang, but just for anyone who hadn't seen it. So episode 6, they get to the void at the end of the time. They figure out, oh, wow, the dude's here. The big bad's here. We can find him. So they cut through it. There's a scene where they're walking through the Citadel. It's very spooky, very creepy, and you're wondering what the hell is going to happen next. And then this elevator door opens, and then there's Jonathan Majors. Yeah. Total goofball. Like, not what I was expecting. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Oh, I didn't know. Okay. Like, Rob knew it. He predicted. I didn't know who Jonathan Majors was. I knew Kang was going to be in this phase 4.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in Loki, and I didn't know that guy was playing.
Nobody knew he was in Loki. No, they kept that completely secret. He was not listed on any cast announcement, nothing. It was completely secret.
Right.
And a lot of his stuff was improv. Jonathan Majors is a classically trained clown.
Interesting.
That's funny.
So a lot of like the stuff that he did was improv, like letting him use his, like, I guess, clown skills. I guess you could call it whatever.
He's very animated.
He was very animated,
all over the place.
And I think that's going to be one of the more interesting things, is seeing him play multiple variants of Kang, and he can play each one of them differently. He has that ability to be able to do that.
Or yes, and obviously that will happen. Variants could be people other than Jonathan Majors too, because we're talking about having to wait 2 years until Ant-Man. He could pop up in No Way Home as a woman, or as whoever else. We could see different versions, different variants of Kang before then. So I'm curious to see how they play that. But just finishing up on how Loki ended, that meet the big bad. I mean, he's self-described as benevolent, right? He says, I'm one of many of my kind. The Mrs. Minutes, who's the little animated clock that, is kind of like your guide for what's going on with TVA, referred to him as He Who Remains.
Right.
And he's
Right.
like, oh, she's still calling me
Still
that.
calling me that? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
she's still calling me that. Yeah, I kind of like it. Yeah. And so he explains that the first time, he figured out how to go to different multiverses,
Right.
just like you said. At the same time, other Kangs. They don't call him Kang, right? They
Right.
never
They
call
never
him
call him
Kang.
that, yeah.
He says, I've been called a conqueror.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
as close as they get to Kang the Conqueror.
Nathaniel Richards is his original name.
Right. But he says, at the same time I figured out time travel, everyone else did. And we met. There was a lot of handshaking. There was a lot of, self-congratulating. That's what he says.
Swapping information.
Right,
stuff
right,
like
right.
that.
We were helping each other out. It was for the betterment of all of our universes. But then, according to him, he says some of the other Lokis weren't, or some of the other guys, because they never say the name, were not as benevolent, right?
Yeah.
And so that caused this multiversal war, right? That's what he calls it. Yeah, the multiversal war. And he was the last man standing, right? He figured out how to weaponize Alioth, and that's what turned the tide. And so he says, I've been doing this for countless ages, whatever he says, 1,000 lifetimes or whatever. And he's pretty much like, I've brought y'all here, right? Everything y'all have done, I knew was going to happen. Every single word. And he shows them scripts of every piece of dialogue they've ever had. The conversation they're having right there shows them a piece of paper with it. It's like, oh shit, that's slick. And then eventually he tells him, I brought you here because I'm tired. I want to go chill on a beach, right? And he's like, there's really two ways this can play out. You can take over for me. You two, Loki, Sylvie, y'all can run this thing for me. Or you can kill me. If you kill me, all those other variants, all the good ones and the crazy ones, they'll all come back because I've been keeping them in check with this sacred timeline thing, right? To me, that was the whole point of the sacred timeline, was really to keep him in power. He didn't want to have to fight all the other Kangs.
But what would
all
happen
these times.
if they transferred the throne?
That they would be pretty much in charge of
Continued
doing
on.
the same thing. What his job was, they're just going to keep doing it, right? So they're in charge of everything. They have ultimate power, which was one of Loki's things, right? He always wanted
Glorious
power.
purpose.
There's the name of the first episode because that's what he wanted, was his glorious purpose, his meaning. So either take over for me or kill me and unleash chaos. And Sylvie, the female Loki, all she's ever known is running from the TVA because, like Rob said, from a child, she's been running from these guys. She's pissed. She came here to fuck this guy up, right? And so even through the explanation...
Came here to kick ass and drink beer. We're almost out of beer.
Amen, brother. And so Kang gives them the option. Loki wants to take the job, right? He says not for the power.
He's like, I believe him.
Right. Exactly. And Sylvie, even if she believes him, she won't admit it.
Right.
And maybe more important, she doesn't give a shit, right? She's got revenge on the mind.
purpose.
Yeah, because we don't know. She's been bouncing back and forth out of living in apocalypses, which is ingenious the way that Loki kind of figures that out and goes about like explaining it. He's like, it doesn't matter. No matter what you do, you can't change anything big enough to put a blip on the TVA's radar to make anything
A variant, a
to
divergent
make
timeline.
a diverging timeline. And it's ingenious. You live in and out. She has a temp pad. She moves in and out of apocalypses, and so like imagine having to live that long. I mean,
On the run.
and for we don't know how long. I mean, they really don't say how long she's been on the run. They just say that she's been running for a long time.
Right.
So, I mean, that's one of those things like, man, like when it comes down to it, she's like, I'm here, I'm making this decision. Like I've already, this decision's been made a long time ago.
One of my favorite lines of the show is when she says to him, why can't you see it the way I see it? And Loki says, because you can't trust and I can't be trusted.
Yeah.
And so,
wow.
It's great.
Yeah.
oh, it's good. Oh, it's so good.
It's almost as good as the WandaVision line. What is grief but love persevering?
Right.
God, these Marvel writers, it's like,
it's
it's like they
solid.
have a lot of money and they're just throwing it around to get the best writers that they can.
Amen.
You know?
They know what they're doing.
I eat it up. So anyway, we didn't talk about it a little bit. The self-love. At some point along the line, Loki falls in love with Sylvie, right? And so
And himself, maybe. No?
Right. No, I think that's a big part of it. It's an interesting thought. Of course, the first person he falls in love with is himself.
Yeah.
But they're there. They're debating what to do with Kang, and they've never just come out and said we're in love or whatever.
Right.
But then there's that moment where they kiss, right? and they fight, and then they kiss and all that, and then
She kicks him through the tent pad door.
Where does he end up at? I forget.
back
Well,
at the TVA.
There we go. Back at
He
the TVA.
ends
with
up back at the
and then
TVA.
Great scene at the end. Very
Mobius
end.
does not know him, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the great thing is she kills He Who Remains. And I love that wink that he gives her. See you soon.
See you soon.
Because
Yes.
he knows
Yeah. He
he's
knows,
lived
yeah.
it. Well, that's the thing is he says, I like how he's like, I lied. I know how everything's going to go up until
At a certain point.
10, 9, 8, 7, 2 seconds ago. And like, he's like, this is all. And they're watching them fight. And then him just like on the edge of his seat.
Oh, he's
like,
just missing his popcorn.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
he
Man.
doesn't care if he dies. He doesn't want to die because it's going to stave off something. But he's prepared for it because he's lived a million lifetimes, And what's weird is, and what that shows when Loki gets thrown back to the TVA is that Mobius doesn't know who he is. So what does that mean? That means that the act of her killing him fundamentally changes the timeline that Loki was in.
Current timeline.
The current timeline that they were in. That current universe. So that goes to show you like where is this going from here? So because we've had a lot of questions about how they're going to handle things in Phase 4. One, they've already said they're not going to recast T'Challa. Not
Right.
going to happen. That character
That'll
is
be
not
very
being
interesting.
So where do they do Wakanda Forever? Who's going to be Black Panther moving forward? Is it going to be Shuri? Are we going to see a universe where
good.
T'Challa died to M'Baku on the falls that day, and M'Baku becomes
Right.
Or maybe Killmonger, maybe Black Panther, maybe T'Chaka never kills his brother or never leaves his son there in America and brings him back to Wakanda, and Eric Killmonger becomes Black Panther.
Wow. There's
You know what I
infinite
mean?
possibilities.
Infinite
They
possibilities.
can do anything they want.
They
Now,
can bring-
It's
now
like-
that
it's like a
they've
clean
done this.
slate. Like Black Widow.
It really is.
Would Black Widow be dead still?
Anybody is in play.
Yeah.
There's a trillion divergent
Yeah,
timelines. Now. Like
yeah.
literally anything you could conceive is probably existing on
Robert
some
Downey Jr.
divergent timeline.
can come back.
Right?
Chris Evans
Yeah.
can come back. Anything is
Crazy
in play.
stuff. Crazy
now,
stuff.
now they can do anything that they want because everything. And you know what this does is I love the way that they did this so subtly. And when you really think about it, what does this do? What does this open up? You know what this opens up? This opens up the possibility that every single one of these superhero timelines that we've watched up until the Marvel Cinematic Universe was formed, all the X-Men movies, all the Spider-Man movies,
Maguire's.
all of those movies that are not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, those are just alternate universes.
They're in
and
play.
now they're in play. Those exist as canon in the MCU.
That's fun. That's fun.
And you could have cross multiverse. You're going to get Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's going to happen. You're going to get, that's the rumors, right? That they're bringing back all these characters for Spider-Man No Way Home.
They can resurrect Robert Downey Sr. That just passed. No? Little morbid. Sorry.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, but
I heard
wow, that's fun.
Daredevil is going to be
Charlie
in
Cox.
Charlie Cox.
Well, that's the rumor. He hasn't.
I
Nothing
hope
has
it's
been
right.
confirmed.
I
Should
hope
be.
it's happening, man. That would be cool because bringing that stuff in because I almost feel like those Netflix series got done dirty. Like they were part of
like
it.
The Punisher?
And then
The Punisher
and
was
we're
great,
done.
was
and
beautiful.
Daredevil
You know?
was good.
Season 1 of Daredevil was fantastic, man.
Yeah,
So
the
good.
Defenders was not. I like the Defenders. I didn't like Iron Fist, but I like
had
the
a lot of flack.
Defenders.
Yeah, I caught a lot of flack. Kevin Feige knows what he's doing. I mean,
That's what
after
when
day
Kyle
one-
and Steven were on here, that's what they
Jesus.
said, that nothing is done on accident. It's all pre-planned out. And apparently Kevin Feige had a meeting with everybody that was like, all right, here's how the rules of the multiverse are going to work. And so these were like, they laid out whatever the rules of the multiverse are. And, WandaVision, brought in like this idea of these thematic elements of a multiverse. And and her hearing her kids at the end of it, so all these things are being set up. Like, what is being set up for, with this Julia Louis-Dreyfus character? You know what I mean? Like, what are they setting up? I was assuming that they were setting up the Thunderbolts, but somebody else was like, no, they're going to set up Dark Avengers, which that would make more sense if you had Thunderbolt Ross become Red Hulk,
Sure.
right? That's your counter to the Hulk, and then you had Yelena become Black Widow, and you've already got fucking Dennis Quaid's son that
from The Boys.
yeah no that's not Dennis Quaid's son who played John Walker in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I didn't see the show.
That's it's somebody famous's kid, like I think it's Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell's kid.
Okay.
It's Wyatt Russell. Yeah,
Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell. He's playing U.S. agent. So now you only need the counters to Hawkeye, which they're coming out with.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like
Conveniently,
you've got
show.
Ronan.
Yeah.
I mean, Ronan could just be Hawkeye. You know what I mean? And you need like Jane Foster's Thor. Dark Event, and you've basically got Dark Avengers except for whoever's going to play the Iron Man counter.
So, for those of us who don't know what the Dark Avengers are, is that like a bad Avengers group or like?
No, they're just like a more rowdy Avengers.
Oh, okay.
You've got White Vision also.
Yeah, White Vision.
White Vision.
But the beautiful thing about this, of what they're doing, is, and Ryan, you can relate to this because you and I are like hardcore. Like we can go and buy a book here and there at a comic book store and read the comics.
Sure.
You walk into the comic book store. There's a plethora of books that you can pick from. You pick up one book and it's a story tie into something else from another title. And that's exactly what the Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing right now.
For sure.
And it's like literally they're going to make movies from here and to beyond. And it doesn't matter what story they're going to pick because there's not going to be an origin story. They could just kind of pick and choose and piggyback off another story. And that's fucking awesome.
It's amazing. The world they've created
Yeah.
in movies. You're right. It almost kind of imitates comic books.
It really does.
It's amazing.
Well, yeah,
what they've
I'm glad, and I'm glad that that's where they've gone. You know what I mean? Because that's what we really needed. You know what I mean? We really needed that that whole fucking Paul walks in here with pizza. Everybody, y'all can't see this, but Paul's here.
Can't you do the
Yeah, I can. You can't see that
one. He's hiding in the corner. He's like Jake the Snake Roberts, just chilling.
I don't know if you
can
see it. I don't know if anybody can see him.
Well,
like
you can
it's
see
right
the pizza box.
You
right
can see
there.
the pizza box in the bottom corner. Paul just ducks in here with the fucking Little Caesars.
Man.
it smells so good.
Go back over there and get another one.
Get another one.
But so White Vision. Think about these TV shows. It's like they're not releasing like big characters up until Loki, right? White Vision was okay, fine. Everybody kind of got horny off that, but Kang, that's like a whole new.
Well,
that's huge.
I mean, that was like the Thanos thing. You know what I mean? Like when at the end of Avengers 1, when they're like, fighting them is like courting death, and then Thanos turns around and everybody's like, "Oh, it's fucking Thanos!" And then you're like, "Oh my god, they're gonna do Infinity Wars." I mean, but there's so many movies that are announced that you're like, "How do these fit in?" Like Secret Invasion, like where does that fit in? You know what I mean? Like the Marvels. So like. I don't know. There's just so much Eternals. Like, where does Eternals fit in?
Have y'all talked about Phase 4 before? Like everything that's coming up?
A little bit, but we were very ill prepared.
So,
because Jake doesn't care and I can't remember.
It's not DC, damn it. All right, I'm with you though. I'm with you. I'm gonna catch up. It's just
so here's the deal. We've been 2 years without anything, and that's why I'm just loving this right now.
I didn't care about Black Widow though. Black Widow, like, blah,
It was good.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it.
It's good. It's a fantastic popcorn movie.
Okay. Well, I heard it was like a fuse between Mission Impossible and Bourne movies.
I mean, it's that like espionage type deal.
Yeah,
I like that stuff. I enjoyed it.
I wanted more Taskmaster, but I mean. It was good. I mean, all in all, like the acting was really good. The storyline was solid. Fucking David Harbour as Red Guardian was fucking great.
He was great.
And even Florence Pugh.
She was great. I thought she did a really good job.
God. She was funny. It was
right.
And funny in all the right ways.
Yep.
Not like stupid funny, but it was just like it was sisterly bickering funny.
She was great. I feel like she was funny in the way Scarlett Johansson struggles with.
Yeah,
Comedy.
yeah.
You know, I love Scarlett Johansson. She does a great job, but I've never found her comedic. Whereas
Yeah,
I
I don't
thought
right.
Florence Pugh
I don't-
was
cheesy
could
comedy.
do that.
Yeah.
Just not.
I think their attention to detail in that movie was really good. Like when you see them get off the plane in the white jumpsuits, you know, Scarlett's is all like tight fitting and stuff like that, but Yelena's is a little loose and baggy
baggier,
because
yeah.
it's Scarlett's and she's wearing it. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like their attention to detail and shit like that was really funny. When David Harbour's trying to get on the Red Guardian suit and he's struggling to
Still fits.
Yeah. So apparently one of the scenes when he's pulling it over his head, he gets stuck in it. That happened.
Oh,
He
God.
got actually stuck in it, and then they just kept it in the
Kept
movie.
rolling.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love the happy accidents.
So you're busting your notes out. So what?
Yeah,
do-
go-
what-
No, we just talking about Phase 4 because you know that's we started this off saying we're going to talk about where Loki takes us.
Yeah, where does it take
in the
us?
MCU? And I'm just so geeked out because now we've waited 2 years for shit,
Right.
And now it's going to come fast and quick, right? For sure.
Fast and Furious.
Oh God.
In space.
Too fast.
Jesus.
Too furious.
So we just did Loki, right?
Yeah. So next is we talked about this last night. Shang-Chi is September 3rd.
It's technically the What If
Oh
yeah, that's right.
animated. It's
animated?
animated. Yes.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so what if is all these, you know, in the comic books it was alternate scenarios.
Right,
What
it's-
if
it's
Jane
the-
Foster became Thor and
Yeah.
stuff like it's the first time
What
that
if
happened.
Venom
Yeah, it's-
got a hold of Deadpool?
It's what if Peggy Carter took the super soldier serum. Now apparently like Agent Carter like that, like super soldier Carter is going to make a live action appearance in the MCU also.
Really? Okay. I can get behind that. Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
everybody loves Haley Atwell and like she
did a
needs
great
to,
job.
she just needs to do more stuff.
But yeah, then after that, you're right. Then it's Shang-Chi, which on the surface doesn't seem to have any multiversal implications. Maybe it'll be a post-credit scene or something where they
I don't
kinda
think
tie it
it'll.
in,
I don't
you
think
know?
it'll tie in.
It doesn't need to. I don't think.
Yeah.
You know, especially these establishing movies where they're establishing characters. I don't think you have to complicate it by figuring out how to tie it into all this other crazy crap that's going
Yeah.
on. Establish the character.
Yeah.
You know, and then
Do a post-credit
scene, which somehow ties it into this. You know, the multiversal thing.
Sure.
But then we got. Let's see. What do we got? Eternals is November 5th.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And then Spider-Man: No Way Home, December 17th.
So we should have as far as TV shows go, though. Hawkeye should be this year as well as
Miss Marvel?
Miss Marvel, yeah.
which I didn't even know that was. Is that Kamala
show?
Khan?
Yeah,
Gonna
Kamala
be-
Khan.
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
And
gotcha.
she's going to be in the Marvels movie, which is Captain Marvel 2. It's going
Right.
to be both of them.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, which I've heard there's some stuff going on there. But so anyway, we got 3 movies this year alone.
Yeah.
left to go.
And the Eternals is
You know?
supposedly a big movie. I mean, it is definitely like an Avengers-esque type movie where you're introducing like the Eternals, like these celestial, like almost godlike characters. You know, and it's like half the Game of Thrones cast.
Right.
You know,
No.
it's Rob Stark and
Kit
and
Harington,
Kit
yeah.
Harington. I don't even know what Rob Stark's real name is.
Rob
Madden.
Stark.
Rob
Rob Stark.
Is it Rob Madden?
No, it's something. John
John-
Madden.
John
John Madden's
Madden.
football guy.
It's taken till
It's something Madden. Anyway.
yeah. Chris Madden. I don't know.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Paul, you're producing this episode. You're supposed to be googling shit for us.
Too busy chewing.
Keep going. This is great. You guys are doing great.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
You're doing
Thanks, Paul.
fucking fabulous.
Thanks, Polly. I appreciate you, bro.
Got your back, man.
Oh,
So you left off at December 17th.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah.
And then we got Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Purely, you know, the title is Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
So I mean, it's baked in. That's March of 22. Thor: Love and Thunder, May of 22. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, July 22. Marvels, November 22. So we got, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 movies next year.
When is Ant-Man Quantumania? 23?
That's not till 23. This February of 23.
Yeah, that's only, honestly, that's only about a year and a half away. That's not that far.
Right.
But that's 7 movies we get in between there.
It's true.
And
then
like 5 or 6 TV shows.
and then the last one on the slate is Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
cannot
That's
wait
gonna
for
be
that.
good.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
Oh my
That's gonna be a great one.
god! Yeah, I love that shit. So and then Fantastic Four, which they haven't even announced a date or anything yet.
And Blade also. They've cast Blade, but they have not like given a date or anything on it. Yeah, I think they nailed down a director.
Okay.
But yeah, like so they're bringing Blade into the MCU, which is interesting. And so now they're with this whole multiverse thing and this whole deal that Marvel's got with Sony. I mean, this opens up the door to so many things. This opens up like Spider-Man hopefully being in the Venom verse, and it allows for like Jared Leto's Mobius or Morbius. Sorry, the living vampire. That's a Spider-Man villain, and apparently they're doing like a Kraven the Hunter movie.
Yeah, I did hear something
that was
about
announced.
That. Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Which so they could be building to the
Sinister Six.
Sinister Six, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of different things, a lot of different ways they could go with that. So, I mean, I don't know, like, let's veer off of Marvel for a second and talk about the next couple of movies that aren't Marvel that are coming out that are like Venom 2. Mm-hmm. Let There Be Carnage. What are your thoughts on that trailer?
I can't wait to see Woody Harrelson. For the full thing. It's right up his alley. He plays those characters incredibly well. Mm-hmm. Rob, you're shaking your head like you're worried.
He doesn't like Woody Harrelson.
I didn't like the trailer.
Cassidy. Yeah.
I didn't like Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think it looks good at all.
Because he's an A-lister, or just because of
you don't like old people? What's your deal?
I think it's like he's. That's part of it. Yeah, I think he's too old.
I could see that.
But he's not going to be. It's CGI. Like everything's going to be CGI.
Yeah, I get it. But like, I just don't think he plays crazy enough.
Have you not seen
Natural Born Killers?
Yeah. Have you ever seen Natural Born Killers?
Have you ever read a Carnage comic? Like, he doesn't play that kind of crazy.
So you haven't seen Natural Born Killers?
No, I haven't.
There, that's all you had to say. Yeah.
That was the question I asked, fucker. So I don't know.
I was kind of half and half on the first Venom movie anyway. I wasn't blown away.
Yeah,
by
I wasn't.
I'm not gonna lie.
It was better than Toby. It was better than Topher Grace's.
Oh God,
Venom.
Yeah, it was. But still, that was a part of my life that I was like, it was great to see it on the silver screen. Even though
Topher Grace's. Yeah.
I mean,
isn't Sam Raimi directing Spider-Man: No Way Home?
I think
is he?
Well, I know he's somewhere.
I think he's directing No Way Home. Cool. I'm pretty sure.
I'm more pissed off that I
Paul,
saw my Amazing Spider-Man 361.
Here we
the
go.
comic, the first appearance of Carnage.
Oh, yeah.
I'm ashamed that I sold it before this movie launched.
If it's good condition, that was $1,000.
No, right now.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So it's fine.
Oh, speaking of comic books, so that King the Conqueror, his first appearance was Avengers 8, I want to say.
Okay.
I looked. I thought
you don't have it, do you?
I don't, and I feel like a fucking idiot for not buying it because
it probably skyrocketed.
It did. It's already over doubled in value. In just the last, John Majors has single-handedly caused that comic book to go through the roof. Yeah. The value. And now I'm like, I wish I'd bought it when I could, when it was actually affordable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And now it's.
Well, you know what dropped down is X Factor number 8, the first appearance of Apocalypse.
Why did it drop?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously after the movie, it wasn't great.
I know it's such.
But
a
I mean,
shame.
it's coming back. I'm thinking, right? Apocalypse, has that ever been rumored at all? I could have sworn I heard something.
Well, they got to bring X-Men. Well, he's such a good villain. He's such. I mean,
he's like a world, a universal conqueror. Like he's up there with like Kang and Galactus.
Absolutely. I think he's probably X-Men's strongest antagonist, right?
Yeah,
like even stronger than Magneto, you know?
Because they've had to team up with Magneto to beat him.
Right. So bringing in the X-Men to the MCU, that's a whole nother thing, you know? And
didn't Hugh Jackman tweet something the other day? Like he had a meeting with Kevin Feige. Paul's over here dying, dude. It's hilarious.
Oh, is he? Oh, nice.
I wish I had a camera that I could pan over there to him.
Yeah, fucking Paul. Well, damn, lost a train of thought. Thank you.
Sorry.
No. That's Paul's job.
Let's just all
Paul's
stare
job.
at Paul and just laugh. Let's laugh along with Paul.
Right now is a perfect time for you to just buy the first appearance key issues of what you think is going to
absolutely.
Come out, you know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. If the comic books as a whole, because of COVID, MCU, all that have just skyrocketed in the last 5 years plus. You know, I mean, it's a good place to put your money, right, Paul?
It's a good place to put your money.
Yeah.
If you like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as good a place as like Pez.
Are there $50 worth of Pez dispensers in this room?
I think it's
I would say there's
49 and a half,
probably
maybe.
there's probably $500 worth of Pez dispensers. in
Really?
here.
Holy balls!
Well, if each Pez dispenser,
I'm taking some of these.
If each Pez dispenser is $1, then there's
you have
$700 worth of Pez in here.
No kidding.
So, I mean,
but is
there
it
are-
like a car where it loses like 3/4 of its value the second you buy it?
No, you have to buy. I mean, you can. Some of the stuff that's retired, they're $8 a dispenser now, and they were 99 cents when they were new. So over behind Ryan's shoulder, the presidents. I only have the first 3 volumes, but the first one is about $80 now.
Oh wow,
The other ones are about 20.
that's gonna be my hot ticket item.
And then I've got where is it? Oh, right here. This is a 1985 Batman still in the package.
Sweet.
So
nice. We need to get drunk one time and
You
like,
open these
and
and I
dare
will
and dare you to like just eat one of them. That's
I
like from
don't like
20
the
years old.
candy. I never have liked the candy.
So ironic.
That's right, Paul. You keep laughing. So the beautiful thing about this multiverse is like it kind of ties into possibly real life. And just let me finish my thought here before y'all criticize me. But right
Lay it
now,
on me.
and I'm kind of diverting a little bit, but it's a good point because what if? And this is a Jake
That
theory.
is the name of the show that's coming out.
And that's true. That these UAPs, the unidentified aerial phenomena, are
that's where
the
you're going
future
with this.
selves of us, and they're just coming in, exploiting themselves to see, like, okay, this is the origin of space travel because we have Bezos, and we have whatever that Virgin guy
The
is.
Virgin, yeah.
Richard
Go-
Branson.
Branson.
Branson,
Yeah,
yeah.
Going to space to open up
On a space train?
No, there you go, like that. To open up space travel for the wealthy and create that as a business.
200
And
to
that's-
300 grand. That's what I read.
And just starting it right now. This is like the origin. That's why it's a lot more UAPs coming in. Like, oh, this is the origin of. I don't know. Just a thought, a Jake thought. I need to coin that.
I like it. Jake thought.
It's,
with
it's,
Jake.
it's a valid-ish thought. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really any way you can dispute it. I mean, what do you say? No, you're fucking crazy. I mean,
Yeah, I
the
mean-
government's actually talking about UFOs. So I mean,
They don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
It could be anything. So that'd be awesome, though.
whose alarm is that? Is that your alarm, Paul? Jesus
My
Christ.
alarm.
Not I.
Anyway,
Anyway.
he's loving this, man. Anyway,
This
so
was all during Comic Palooza up until about
This was
2
it? This-
o'clock.
3
when
days
he
of-
was like, I'm
like-
tired.
all right, so let's talk about Comic Palooza a little bit. You know what I mean? Our listeners will get a bonus episode
Yes.
of our recording of our Saved by the Bell trivia on the floor at Comic Palooza. We will, we'll put that out there as soon as I get it up, and I haven't listened to it, so. Our buddy Chris helped me like patch into their board so that we could get it recorded. So I'm not so sure that the sound quality. I haven't listened to it yet. But
Did you plug it into the power amp or no? Power speaker? 'Cause there's a debate going on with
do-
that.
yeah, there was a
I just
debate
walked
going
away. Like, I'm going to let Rob handle this because I don't want to fuck up his shit.
Yeah, I'm not. I was like, whatever. It's not worth the argument. But let's talk about the night before Comic Palooza.
What happened the night before?
I don't know. I wasn't there. So apparently, y'all got a hotel room, and
Oh.
Yep.
well, they got a hotel room so that they were close to Comic Palooza and had stuff going. You know, they could be there, and there's always parties and shit like that happening. But like by 11, when I showed up to Comic Palooza, they were both dragging so much ass hungover. Jake's like, "Oh, we lost Raph."
Yeah, so what happened was that night, we get to the hotel, and at Pitch 25, which is the bar right behind the convention center, they were having a little event, and you get early badges, and it was an excuse for me to go buy some drinks. So we go get drinks, and we had Paul. We invited Rob, but Rob had a lot of stuff going on. And Raph,
I had a lot of stuff going on that weekend.
he used to be a participant of the podcast.
He used to be a contributing member of society, also.
Raph reads the classics, right?
Yeah,
I
thank
remember
you,
that.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey man, that was a great bit.
That was a
That
great
was
bit.
like
It
the
was.
first
I'm not
episode
gonna
that
lie,
I ever came on.
That was good.
we should
That was
have
good.
kept that going, man.
We can find.
It was
It's going to be Paul reads the classics.
It was funnier. It was funnier than I thought it was going to be. I can tell you that.
So we get there, get a couple beers, and I think it was maybe just a few beers. Okay, a little bit more than a couple, but not a whole lot of beers. But then I met my friends there, and then we went to this other bar, and then before we know it, we saw Raph getting like shoved out of the bar, and we're out there with our beers, and they're like, "You can't drink it out here. You gotta go to the patio." So we get to the patio, and we finish our beer, and then Paul comes and is like, "Hey, I can't find Raph. We lost Raph," and he'll find his way. I mean, he knows where. Long story short, we didn't see Raph again till 4:00 the next day at the convention.
Where did he go?
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Apparently, he slept in a
Holy
parking garage or something.
It's something like that.
no.
Yeah. Slept in a parking garage, and obviously, no one wants to lend him a phone because
He sells it for drugs and
well, he looks like he had a rough night.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
like, nah, I'm
right.
not gonna give you my phone. I guess so. He finally,
he probably smells like pee.
Give us a call and stuff like that. I just like, to think of like Billy Bob Thornton in Bad Santa. That's probably a best description of Raph at that night. The next day.
That's fantastic.
I just pissed myself. You know what I mean? In a Santa suit. But he was up in Adam. When I saw him. But and then we get to what's hilarious is that my buddy buys a beer for Paul, and Raph shows up. And like, hey, Paul, sorry, they only had was this type of beer. It wasn't Eureka Heights, unfortunately, because they didn't have it at the little kiosk that we're at. And then Raph just grabs it and just pounds it hard. Like, damn, this guy is fucking dehydrated. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, then he left. But that was Raph's,
Disappeared again. Holy shit.
fun night.
Well, we podcasted at 1:30.
Yeah.
And we had no idea where Raph was. And I was like, man, Jake was like, I mean, he could be dead. And I was like, yeah, but I mean, like, that's a hell of a story. You know what I mean? So, like, I feel like we should talk about it. And he was like, no, we shouldn't. And I was like, I feel like we should talk about it.
So we do know the Raph's okay?
No,
At
yeah,
this
he's
moment?
fine.
Okay.
He's fine.
You
He
can tell
showed
the
up at
story
4
then.
o'clock.
That's
He
okay.
showed up at 4 o'clock.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's not dead.
Okay.
He's not dead.
Okay.
He wasn't
But
in
I was
jail. We called all
thinking-
the jails.
Yeah, I was thinking like, shit. If we announce this, that makes me kind of half like responsible. Well, I mean, you're 30-something years old. Can I be responsible? I don't know.
No, he's responsible for
But no,
his own
I
actions.
didn't phone anybody saying, "Oh, we need to freaking conduct a search," or "I need to, declare this guy missing."
You
I
can't
didn't,
declare missing unless he's been gone for
but
24 to
exactly,
48 hours.
I get
Ask
that,
me
but I
how
did not
I
make
know.
that. I didn't make that oomph to make that call just yet. So I was like, "Shit, I know the guy's missing," and I didn't make a call. But I'm like,
fuck
this
him.
happened before in
Sure,
the past.
sure.
So I'm like, it's Raph. Raph always finds a way. It's like having the dinosaurs at Jurassic Park. They're all male, or they're all female. Oh, no,
Yeah,
what?
they're all female.
And life finds a way. Raph finds a way. You know what I mean?
Raph finds a way.
So like shit.
That's great. Raph finds a way.
Oh, my God.
They are all female. That's hilarious.
Oh, Jesus.
Just like Raph. But yeah,
I think that'll about wrap us up
rate
for
it.
tonight.
Rate it.
Oh,
As
rating.
far-
Okay.
For WandaVision, Falcon.
Okay. Well, how can we do that? None of y'all have seen all
I'm
3
not
shows
gonna be
except
part-
me.
okay. Those 2 shows, WandaVision and Loki. Which one was better?
Oh, I mean, I think Loki. But between that was one thing I was going to ask y'all is who was your MVP outside of Tom Hiddleston for Loki. But for your question, between Jonathan Majors, and just the ensemble cast, the story they told, where it ended, what it meant for everything else. To me, it blows WandaVision away. And I enjoyed parts of WandaVision. But
I enjoyed WandaVision immensely, but I think that like every show that you see is going to be better than the last one. I think that's the
Really?
idea. And well, I mean, I think
Was Falcon better than WandaVision?
in ways it had a lot more. It was a different.
When you
story.
say in ways, it's not better than.
Well,
in
I mean,
ways,
but Scarlet Witch is one. Okay, it can't be because Scarlet Witch is like my all-time favorite superhero. So, like, you're talking about
That's
like
random.
You're talking about like if you had a Batman TV show that was as good as that, and you're like, then you got like a Flash TV show, and you're like. Oh, is Flash better? I mean, yeah, in ways, but I mean that's always going to hold to me. Like,
damn
that,
it, Skolasky, which one's better?
Thank you.
That's like trying to make
Batman
me,
66 reigns supreme.
That's like trying to make me pick my favorite child. You know what I mean? Like
you're terrible. You're acting like Paul. You know, right now.
what? So high I can't stay awake.
So indecisive. Like
all right. If I had to pick, I will say that while I enjoyed WandaVision immensely, I do think that Loki was the better show.
okay.
I think that the storytelling on Loki was really good. Tom Hiddleston is fucking fantastic. The interaction between him and Sophia, whatever her name is, that played Sylvie, was really good. Owen Wilson, fucking MVP of that show. Like, I mean, he just latched you on like right from the very beginning. And did you watch Assembled?
I did, yeah.
So you hear him like when Owen Wilson hadn't seen any of the MCU.
Nothing. He didn't know what the MCU was.
He thought,
my God,
he
hilarious,
thought Aquaman
man.
was going to be in this show.
You gotta be kidding me. That's
So Tom Hiddleston,
privileged son of a bitch.
Tom Hiddleston is like explaining
Rock
the
have
MCU
you been living
to him.
under? You know,
He's explaining to him the MCU, right? And so like he's explaining to him Loki and like who Loki is as a character. And then Tom Hiddleston's an interview. He's like, and I loved it because Owen would grab these little bits of dialogue that I was telling him about Loki and drop them in to the improv dialogue that Mobius was saying about Loki in the show. And like they showed a couple like clips and bits of it, and you're like, man, I gained a whole new respect for Owen Wilson after this show. Like he was much better than I thought that he was going to be.
well, he was Owen Wilson. Every Owen Wilson movie I've seen, he's Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
You know, like he's always that same guy. He doesn't change it up, but it fit.
True.
It felt like it belonged. It didn't feel out of place. You know, so I thought he did a good job. You know, so you said Owen Wilson MVP over Kang.
Well, I mean, Jonathan Majors was only in one part of the last episode, so
But it was a big
big reveal, and I mean, I think that without that final scene, the show wouldn't have been the show wouldn't have been as good as it was. So
Sure.
I think Owen Wilson for MVP overall, but like best supporting cast, Jonathan Majors. I mean, Jesus, that really brought like. It's like the rug in The Big Lebowski. It really brought the room together. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's like one of the things that I would say that end reveal with Jonathan Majors, had that scene not have pulled off as well as it did, then WandaVision would have had it beat. But as it stands, like I think that Loki, because of that, put WandaVision, in the
What'd you think, Jake? Man,
I like Loki's story, like you said, and I think Owen Wilson is a key character in that show. Without his, and I guess maybe anybody could have played that character, but Owen Wilson really kind of like solidified it. And at the first episode, when I saw Owen Wilson, I'm like, okay, this is what's going on here? Get another A-list actor and whatever. But I mean, he made it very interesting for sure.
Absolutely.
But then again, WandaVision is just as awesome, and I think it brought a lot of the love in, like the love. It was more of a love story. So if you're more into like love stories, I think maybe WandaVision is probably the direction you're going to go with. This had a little bit of a love story, but like that bomb that they dropped, not bomb, but that explosion that they dropped at the very end, I'm gonna have to go with Loki because of that.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, it's not to say WandaVision was bad, because there were plenty of things in WandaVision that I liked. Tom Hiddleston alone, worth the price of admission. The story they told, and trust me, there were things I didn't like about Loki, which we didn't talk about. But on the whole, better than WandaVision. I've heard mixed things about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Rob, you said you liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I did. I liked it.
Yeah.
But
would it be number
said,
3? It'd be number 3
Yeah.
of the 3 of them.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Perfect.
Well, I guess that about wraps us up, gentlemen. So, Ryan, thanks for coming on and hanging out with us and talking.
Always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure having you over. Thanks for coming out and checking out the new podcast studio. And Ryan and I have been friends so long that he has actually seen me acquire most of these Pez. We were
You
friends.
didn't stop him?
We were friends. We were friends when I started this collection
Oh yeah.
20 plus years ago.
When he had Pez dispenser. That's
Yeah.
only That's the one we've been
I
together.
had a handful only. As a matter of fact, Ryan's ex-girlfriend bought me that.
Okay.
That
all right,
giant
moving right
Pez
along.
clown.
Oh, and you still have it.
Yeah, why wouldn't I? I'm not getting rid of it.
Well, because maybe Ryan feels uncomfortable
Which one
at
is
being
it?
here.
Which one is it? Remind me again.
It's that one over there in the corner.
The one that fell asleep right there.
Yeah,
That's
that one.
So cute. That's precious. That's
He
so
buys a large pizza just to eat 2 slices. That's hilarious.
I assume that he ate the whole thing
no.
because I can't see it. I'm just assuming he ate the whole thing.
He did. He did. It's all gone. It's all gone. Yeah.
And on that note,
On that note,
I've been Rob,
I'm Jake.
Ryan.
and we are Gentlemen No Class, and we will catch you guys on the next one. And I'm gonna see if I can do this without fucking it up on the outro.
It better not be a Paul outro. God damn it.
God, that's sexy.
It's like I thought we were just gonna talk shit over it.
Yeah, I mean,
Fuck yeah, shit.
we don't get.
Okay, no, it's fine.
We're still.
Well, I mean,
we're-
I'm talking shit to the man right now.
I know. I mean, well, he sucks. I
It
mean,
sounds like it's like the music that's been played when you're in a laundromat.
Serious.
it sounds like a ripoff of the Stranger Things theme song. That's what I've been saying.
It sounds like a ripoff of Doogie Howser. Don't justify it. No,
You don't have to justify shit.
not here. Damn it. No, you're gonna take it. You're gonna take it.